I have been playing a game for review, and I'm playing a game that I've been more into puzzle games because puzzle games have been, you get through like Zelda and you get through a bunch of other big RPGs like I did, and it's like I need to take some time and do some stuff that's a little bit small, a little bit more of like thought process rather than like action and like turn-based crap. And so
tense and trees.
No, so I've been playing a game called I got a review code called Chants of Sennaar. Chants of Sennaar is, I'm on a larger screen here. It's a puzzle-ish game. Great visuals. The first thing that struck me was like, I freaking love this visual style. Really high saturation, high contrast.
It was Monument Valley for a second.
I
saw him running on the tower, and I was like, "Yeah, Monument Valley."
Yeah. So it's that feel though, because the camera pans around like Monument Valley and a lot of it's a sort of isometric view. Anyways, Rundisc is developer. They've
got terrible posture though.
Yeah, he's always kind of bent over. So the whole goal of this game is, you see that. Let me pause it. All right. So you're going to you walk around, you talk to people, or you'll see people. Like, this is essentially like the early portion of the game here is telling you what this game actually is, right? He's kind of throws a symbol out there. You don't know what it means because they don't give you nothing is really in English in this. You'll see the symbol, and then stuff will pop up and it'll be like dots, and you're like, well, basically that tells you that you don't know what this word or this text means yet. So he's saying something, but you don't know. So you walk over to this little pulley and you see that you hit a button, you pull that down as an action, right? And then this little gate will open, the water will kind of run through, but then this water will go down here, and then he'll run around this way or something, right? So he'll go over here, and you're like, oh, that meant open or pull or something. Okay, so you get over here, and then he'll give you another symbol, and the other symbol is something else. Like, what does that mean? So then you'll pull this pulley, and it closes, and this thing like opens back up. You're like, oh, that meant close. All right, I kind of get it. You get this notebook in the game. So you're learning these symbols by seeing people say these things, or they're written in places. Open up the notebook in the game, and the notebook has all the symbols that you're seeing kind of pop up on the right, and on the left has like whatever the image for that level is. Each image has sort of, the idea is you're supposed to place these symbols on this image, and then it opens up the exact words for these symbols. Well, if you don't know what those words are, and you see that you can't really drop them on the image because you have no idea what it means, but you can kind of guess what these symbols are. Like I said, you'll be like, okay, I think he means open or pull. And so you can actually, when you see the symbols pop up in your notebook, you can kind of tap the X button. I'm playing it on Switch here. You tap the X button, and you can give text to those symbols. You're like, okay, I think this was open. So you'll type in open. Now, whenever you see that symbol pop up, it'll say open. Oh, that's kind of cool. You kind of get it. And then so you'll come across like murals in the area, and the murals will have like a bunch of symbols, but maybe you only know one or two of those symbols. And so you've kind of pre-written some of those symbols. You'll be like, all right, there's 2 dash lines. There's a symbol that I know is the word open because I've solved it. And then like 2 more dash lines, and then 2 more dash lines, and then like a symbol that I've solved as God. And I'm like, all right, well, I don't know what this means. Well, those 2 dash lines, it's related to, it looks like it's looking at people. So maybe 1 dash line is person, but 2 dash line means multiple persons, which means people. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So you start to figure stuff out like that, and that's how you sort of solve all the puzzles in this game. You have to, it's really all about language. Those were the 3 dots that kind of come across. It's like, okay, I kind of get the puzzle solving, So, and there's let me pause it, because this is what that page is. I probably should let that run through here. Let me hit this play button here. So you'll have these, here are all the symbols that you've collected so far in the area, right? In each area, you get all new symbols, and some carry over, some don't. Mostly all new symbols. But you get these images that are supposed to kind of help teach you. So you're like, okay, well, which of these symbols that I know are going to fit in here? And you'll only know them because you've experienced some stuff and you started figuring things out. And then once you kind of use this, it deciphers all the symbols that are related. So it's a really interesting aspect to the game, right? And so I enjoyed that part. And I enjoy the visuals. The audio is really good. It's loaded with these kind of puzzle style mini games. Like, you thought that Wheels was a mini game. Like, we saw the Starfield pick lock mini game. There's a lot of pick lock ish mini games in this, and you need to know the symbols to figure it out. Now, the bad part is there are no maps. So, like, there's a symbol right there, right? So you see the mural. Let me get back to that part. So there's the mural. It's like, I don't know what this means, but I figured out that one of these things
flipping the bird. He's like,
yeah,
fuck
literally,
you guys.
I figured out one of these things was warrior, so that means multiple warriors. I know this thing is door, and I know this. I ended up knowing this thing was close earlier. So it's like, oh, warriors closing the door. Well, what are they closing the door? The next mural is a temple, because you know what the symbol for God is, and stuff like that. But a lot of little mini games in this, and you can't figure these mini games out until you get enough of the text. But in order to get the text, you have to kind of find your way around the entire freaking area that you're in, the level that you're in. The only bad part about that is that there's no maps. And because there's no maps, I'm back in the day of like, did I go this route yet? Do I have to go down? Oh, I'm in the same area I was before. And you can kind of teleport around a little bit. You get that skill later on, but it's a really cool idea for a game. I think here's one of the mini games that I absolutely hated, even though I figured it out. Really cool idea, but it ends up
tarot.
That tarot is interesting because it teaches you hierarchy of the character. So you're like, okay, this is a peasant, this is a disciple, this is a warrior, this is God. It's like, okay, I get what's stronger than the previous one. The way it's mixed with deciphering language, like some of these things with some of the action sequences, like there was the one earlier with the here, I'm gonna get to right here, because there's action sequences where you're sneaking around or you're trying to avoid like just shit falling down. It feels like it's just sort of stuck together. Like, hey, we're going to get a cool like language-based puzzle, and now you're just going to be running past blocks falling on top of you. And another cool language-based puzzle, and now you got to sneak around like every other game that we sneak around. So it's a little kind of frustrating. It's like, it's a little bit disjointed in that case. However, I really enjoyed solving the language stuff. Like, I'm a language buff.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to me because then I'm like, oh, I know what this word means. And it puts me in the mindset of, I feel like I kind of understand how like people study hieroglyphics and understanding what hieroglyphics mean, and like old languages and cuneiform and that kind of stuff. I want to go back into my old art history books and start to read some of this stuff. But I enjoyed that aspect quite a bit of this, and really cool settings.
That was always a fun part of No Man's Sky, was like unlocking all the words and stuff, and like being able to like slowly be able to talk with these people instead of just guessing what they're saying.
Yes.
Like, well, let's see if I think that means evil. So
yeah. And so I find that whole aspect of this to be a freaking blast. Like, I love that part. And they did it really well in this. But again, you're doing those things, but then you have to like run away from a little devil guy, and you do more of the language stuff.
No, wait a minute. What we talk about little devil guys?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Ruining stuff.
I need to see this little devil guy's design.
Yeah. It's I can't kind of pinpoint the setting, because like the whole first part looks like it's like this, like, oh, this is like Middle Eastern style, ancient setting, something from the olden days. Oh, okay. Oh, well, they got some rafters. Okay, this looks like it's something you would find like 2,000 years ago, whatever. And then all of a sudden you get to like, there's lasers and there's trolleys.
I love this fucking design. That little
it's so cool.
Laser face.
Yeah, dude, it's so cool. Like, I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed not knowing. It really did feel like, you mentioned Tron, but it felt like Dune in a way. It's like, oh, this really has kind of a Dune vibe, like future future archaic in a weird way. Like, look, there's just there's like a sky tram for no reason. There's a dude wearing a top hat staring down. It's like, I don't know what this means, but I freaking love it. I mean, I love the stylistic, very simple, like you said, Monument Valley style. But yeah, I didn't love the action sequences. Absolutely loved the language stuff, but there's a little bit disjointed in some how they pull some of that together.
This little sneak, this little hunched sneak is
it's so funny. Like, you have to avoid guards, and so that, like, very early on, it's a very typical, the guards just moving in a circle, so you have to throw something to get his attention over on the other side. So it's like he's scrunched over like a grandfather. He's already bad posture right there. You're right. He's gonna have some back issues later on in his life if he doesn't already. But he gets even more scrunched over as he's trying to sneak around. But yeah, I think there's a super cool idea here, and it's worth just from the language side. But again, it's just a little disjointed in how they link the action sequences back to the rest of it. But cool setting, cool visuals. It's worth a pickup, if you're into the language side of things, I guess. Yeah, Chants of Sennaar.
Yeah.
And that.